Jim, what was one skill experience that was crucial to your professional success?
I guess the first thing that I would start with as a takeaway message is that you definitely learn more from your failures and your mistakes than your successes. So, especially when you're entering a field like broadcast journalism or any part of the media world that's competitive, where people want work, you're going to face your fair share of rejection. Your mother and father aren't hiring, so people are hiring who aren't invested in you in the way that your family is, and you're going to hear no, and you're going to develop scar tissue, and you're going to fall down and scrape your knees. And you know what? Those are all the best experiences you could possibly have in terms of giving you the skills uh, and setting the trajectory that you want to have. It doesn't feel so at the time. At the time, it feels like, what am I doing? I got to find something I can succeed in. Well, you know what? You need to hear no about 1,000 times and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then keep going because nobody fails. They just stop trying.
Amazing, Jim, that you say that, and that's so much a part of the Posse family and the Viacom family. One thing I loved from coming from Posse was we were a unit, you were family, you had each other's back. I think that's something that relates so closely to the military. And I think that partnership between Posse and the veterans program is exactly that. You're transferring from one family to another, and hopefully one day these folks will join our Viacom CBS family as well.
Awesome. Love that. I'm like, it's like cousins, right? We're just going to each other's houses. So Rashawn, I would say, what skills and experience did you gain from the military that was crucial to your professional success?
What I was able to learn, I actually took not only from the military, but I transferred that over to the federal government when I was working for the federal government. And I would have to agree with Jim. It's perseverance. It's the ability to not quit because I needed that when I came into the entertainment industry. I failed spectacularly. So adapt, overcome, persevere, don't stop.
Okay, Vanessa, any skill sets?
It is perseverance. It is, you throw in the towel and that's when you're done. It's not when someone else says you're done. So, I myself have been fired from a production before because I wasn't the right fit and I thought it was the end of the world. And I didn't have parents that golfed with other parents that would get me the next job. So it is very stressful to say, how am I going to pay my bills this month? And how am I going to continue to pursue what I'm passionate about? But it's really interesting to see that you can really do anything with the skills that you have and to continue to put yourself out there and believe in yourself to get to that end goal.
Can I just jump in and say something?
Absolutely, absolutely.
You folks all set your own trajectories. Okay. Nobody sets a trajectory for you. Do you really want to get 20 or 30 years down the road and feel like somebody else determined your level of success? But what that requires is nobody tells you you're done either, even when it feels like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. I can't get where I want to get. That decision is yours and yours alone. I will never allow anybody else yeah, they may say, no, you're not working for me anymore, but that isn't the actual end of that's not your professional destination. You determine that. And to that end, I just want to say that for veterans in particular, and I've watched veterans prosecute combat in crazy conditions. And I will say this, do not do anything other than when you get into an interview, lead with the skills that you have learned in the military and how they are applicable to the job that you are talking about taking. For instance, basic, simple stuff. Show up early, stay late, never say no. These are things that are any employer or any hire wants to know they're hiring somebody like that. Now, I can't think of any better training ground for all of those things than the military. So you just make sure when you're walking in, you're not shying away from this. You're not trying to gauge what they think. You're talking about how you have a skill set that in many cases was literally forged under fire, but that you know the value of the basic things that will make any organization work. and why you have those skills becomes a nice selling point for a job applicant.
So Rich, I want to ask you, as a veteran, can you speak a little bit about your transition from the military to the civilian workforce?
I'll keep this brief, but I just want to echo what Jim said. I think that adversity is the most important thing, because I look back and the most important skill that I've ever had, I think the military teaches you, life teaches you this. How to deal with rejection in a graceful way and productive way, right? That's your spirit, right? But for me, there were a number of situations, particularly, as I was a career military, I was an NCO, I was an E6 promotable. I've served in the Ranger Regiment. Very fortunate to have done that, and I have my sights set on other things. But unfortunately, I was severely injured during a airfield seizure training exercise. My parachute malfunctioned, and I hit a runway, and I broke my neck and my back and my legs and other bones. And it just the pain of the physical pain was not as great as the what came after that, which was, this is everything that I had my hopes on. And when I was at Walter Reed, I would lay there and I literally cried. Like when Colonel Van Dam, who was the head of orthopedic surgery, said, "Your military career is over with." And I think that was a way of being fired. And again, I have a Marine friend who always will tell me, there's no coincidences in life. It's just God's way of staying anonymous. Transition is not something, as I said before, it happens at many stages of your life and your career. And I think that the skill sets that, you've developed, and as Jim said, you will continue to do that. So again, Betty, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm sending you guys all of my good energies, and, you'll, again, being around positive people, doing what you're doing, you've already, doing the hard work of getting a great education and experience and networking. And you're already, 75% of the way there.
To reiterate, you belong at ViacomCBS. To talk briefly about our Campus to Career program, that is the program I specialize in. We do have a couple of eligibility requirements. So at the moment, we look for rising juniors and seniors, or those that are pursuing their Masters of Business Administration or a JD. We really want all of our interested candidates to take the time to craft your own career goals. When it comes to the resume format, so we want to see your contact information up at the top. We want to see your name pretty clearly and where you might be located, or what cities you might be interested in relocating to. On the screen, there are some best practices when it comes to resumes, some of which I've already highlighted. As far as cover letters go, I do want to make the case that cover letters are not dead. So we do rely on cover letters. Practice an elevator pitch. Have answers and anecdotes ready for common interview questions. Things like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Or tell me about a time you had to handle conflict. And then I won't spend too much time on this, but please try to leave a lasting impression. Whenever you interact with anyone within the company, send a thank you note. They go a long way, and as personalized as they can be, they will make the most maximum impact. So with that, there are a couple of our social handles for our internship programs if you're interested. And if there happen to be any questions in the chat box, I'll make sure to reach out to you specifically and answer the questions all in the chat.
Mr. Phillips not only has been one of the founding supporters for POSSE Foundation generally, but was the first corporate sponsor for the veteran program at POSSE, and also serves as a member of the ViacomCBS board. So my dear friends, please welcome Mr. Charles Phillips.
Well, thank you, Rich. Good to see everybody. Not every company has a group like this. It takes it this seriously. I've been on the board of POSSE for many years, and trying to get universities and companies to do this is not easy. So the idea of having a cohort and a team together, people in the military are used to thinking in units anyway, is a natural thing. We build teams, we do things together, and that culture is just DNA. And so I said, of course it'll work. I said, even better if you can do it, by service or MOS or something, but let's just get it started. We'll figure it out, and I'll help recruit some people for you. And since that time, it's gone to a whole different level. And so you guys are the next generation of future to keep this going. I'm just so proud that you're all kind of engaged here and getting started here. This is a process, like I said, I've been through it. I watched my father go through it when he was in for 20 years and got out and tried to transition. And it depends on when you're doing it. So when I did it in the 80s, it was probably too close to Vietnam. So people didn't respect military service quite as much. And I sent out over 200 letters blindly, not knowing anybody. And I wanted to get to New York because my wife was from New York, but that's all I knew about New York. And I think I got 199 declines. But my view was I only need somebody to say yes. And the one guy who said, well, if you're in town, I'm not going to pay for you to come up here, but if you happen to be up here for some other reason, let me know when you're in town. And of course, I made up a reason to be in town and say I'm here. And he didn't really want to meet with me. I could tell he was kind of sluggish about it. And I'd say, well, just come, I'll sit in your office, outside in your office. And whenever you get 5 minutes, just call me in. I know you're a busy guy, so I'll be here, which he agreed to. And I sat out there from, I think, 8 in the morning until about 4 in the afternoon. And I think he finally came out with that look on his face. I guess I got to do this, guy's still here. And so I went in, I looked on his desk as soon as we walked in, and I saw the Eagle Globe and Anchor on his nameplate. So I knew his dad was a Marine. That's the only reason he felt like he had to meet with me. He couldn't say no. He didn't want to say yes, but he couldn't say no. And 15 minutes later, we're laughing and talking. Yeah, where were you stationed? You grew up where? Yeah, of course, I've been there. And my dad was stationed there. And before you know, we're talking about 10 things. And it's all about, position yourself. All the things Connor said, having, be the summary, the story of yourself on why you're there, and having quick answers. I mean, I knew at the time that I didn't have specific experience they were looking for. I go, but Marines improvise, we learn it. You tell me what the job is, tell me what to focus on, outwork everybody else. I had been serving, so everybody else they were hiring going to the training program were 5 or 6 years younger than me. I go, yeah, they all went to great schools. They probably feel entitled. They've been, at the top of their game the whole time. They're going to walk in and expect stuff. I don't expect anything but to work hard. By the way, if it doesn't work out, you can fire me in 4 months. I don't care. I'll sign anything. Just give me a shot. What I tell people is, if you practice and you're good enough, look around. Always want to learn to your left and to your right what those guys are doing. 2 people above you, 2 people below, what I call 2 and 2, know what their jobs are, what they want, and just be aware of how you fit into the organization and be trying to learn more. Even if you're not getting paid for it, learn more, learn more, learn more. And then at some point that turns into opportunities. So it's like, when you're managing stuff as a manager, you're looking for, I guess, this next thing to do. Who am I going to give it to? Who can I rely on? It's like being in the huddle with the last 2 minutes of the game or the last 30 seconds. And who are you going to give the ball to? You're going to pick somebody. Well, he's the guy who's always prepared. He's easy to work with. I know he's done the work. I'm going to give the ball to him. And so stuff's going to come to you. And so, but you got to do the prep work first. And so that's the only thing I would kind of encourage you to do. But like I say, a lot of people want to help the environment that we're in now. People feel different, about the military. And I do think people want to lean in on this. And so the prep you're getting here is better than anything you could get anywhere else. And so this kind of, advice that they're giving you is gold. And so I just wish you all luck, and it'll work out. And like, people want you to succeed. So if you're there and working hard and ask for help, somebody's going to help you.
This is not the end of the conversation, right? We are going to be lifelong friends. And so that's what we do. So thank you to everyone. It was really, I couldn't think of a better way to spend a Friday afternoon than with this really wonderful group. So thank you.